Hello everyone and welcome back to my second session of the lecture, The Elegy, written in a country churchyard by Thomas Gray. Um, we start from stanza 9 of this poem, and in this stanza it is said that although we have seen in the first session that the main point of discussion had been that all the inevitable end is the grave, okay, and the grave is the final end. And we take up stanza 9 now, which says, the boast of heraldry, the pomp of power, and all that beauty, all that wealth ever gave, awaits alike the inevitable hour. The paths of glory lead but to the grave. Okay. Now, the boast of heraldry represents the pride of high birth. Heraldry means high birth. The pomp of power represents the grandiosity, the show of power. And all that beauty, all that wealth ever gave, everything that excesses of beauty may have gifted upon a person, or excesses of wealth may have showered upon a person. All these attributes of the wealthy and the rich people who have had the benefit of high birth, or who have had the glory of power, who have had excesses of beauty and wealth, all of them will ultimately reach the inevitable hour representing death. Okay, that is the final hour. And the paths of glory lead but to the grave. All paths of glory, however famous a person may have been, however glory may have been showered upon the person, it will ultimately lead to the grave, to death. Here, the boast of heraldry, the pomp of power, these are representatives of high birth and power. These are personifications of high birth and of power, and awaits alike the inevitable hour. Inevitable hour is of course a periphrasis, all right, a roundabout way of referring to death. The paths of glory lead but to the grave. This is an epigram, a saying, a very common saying, that however glorious, however famous one person's path may have been, one person's life may have been, he will ultimately go to the end, all right, that is to death. So in stanza 10, therefore, it is said, nor you, ye proud, impute to these the fault, if memory over their tomb no trophies raise, where through the long-drawn aisle and fretted vault the pealing anthem swells the note of praise. So it is said that nor you, ye proud, those who are proud, those who have led this kind of glorious, life filled with glory and fame, they should not look down over, these people who have no trophies over their tomb. Trophies are meant to celebrate the achievements, the successes of a particular man, who may have been historically successful or politically, famous, or who may have achieved a lot in their lives. They may have trophies built over their tombs to celebrate their achievements. Okay, so it is a sign of their success, their celebration, a celebration of their achievements. And but these people should not be blamed for not having trophies over their tombs. Similarly, these people should not be blamed because no pealing anthem. What is pealing anthem? It is a high-strung choir, which is sung to celebrate the dead, who may have been a very famous person, when he is being brought down the corridors of the church to his final grave. And his grave also is a fretted vault, that it is engraved, and it is decorated. The grave is engraved and decorated. All right, so these are all tokens of celebration of the famous life of the person. All right, that is why high strung, very highly pitched choirs are sung to celebrate their last journey down to the grave. But these people again are simple people, and they should not be blamed for not having such high-strung choirs sung for them down the aisles of the church. Okay. Now here the tomb is actually a synecdoche, as a part of speech. It a part for the whole. The tomb represents the dead body. All right. The trophy again represents the achievements, the glory of the person. All right. So the tomb is a representation of the dead body. So it is a synecdoche. All right. In the next stanza, stanza 11, can storied urn or animated bust back to its mansion call the fleeting breath? Can honor's voice provoke the silent dust, or flattery soothe the dull cold ear of death? Storied urn. Urn is a container in which the ashes of the dead person are kept. Storied urn refers to a container on which the life history of that person is engraved or encrypted. All right. It may also represent an urn on which there are decorations, representations, figurines, engravings, sculptures, etc. engraved and etched on the urn. All right. So storied urn is an urn basically representing the historical or the conquests, or maybe the historical achievements, great achievements of a particular person. All right. It again is a representation, a celebration of the achievements of the person. Animated bust. Bust is a statue. Animated is a lifelike statue. All right. But can storied urn or animated bust back to its mansion call the fleeting breath? Can it call back life back to the dead body? Here, mansion stands for the dead body. Fleeting breath is the life that is gone. So can all these representations of glory and celebrations of glory, that is the storied urn or the statue, can this call back life to the dead who is gone? All right. Now here, mansion. Mansion again is a metaphor, which is an implicit comparison of the palace to the body, and life will not come back to the body. Again, let us come to these two lines. Can honor's voice provoke the silent dust, or flattery soothe the dull cold ear of death? A person who has been very famous, has had honor throughout his life, has had honorable achievements throughout his life, but the voice of honor cannot provoke the silent dust, cannot provoke the um, the state of death, okay, the status of death, all right, it cannot bring back life to the dead, all right. And flattery soothe the dull cold ear of death. That is, flattery is something which is used by people, maybe around a very powerful person, maybe the courtesans sing these words of praise in the ears of the person holding the court, and so these are all attributes of the rich, of the glorious, of the achievers, who listen to these flattery or the song of honor. But none of these can bring back life back to the dead. So here, back to the mansion, as I said, being a metaphor, silent dust again is a euphemism. It refers to, it is a pleasant way of referring to something unpleasant. So silent dust refers to death. And then there is an interrogation. Can honor's voice provoke the silent dust of flattery? Yes. The interrogation lies in the last two lines. Can honor's voice provoke the silent dust? No. The answer is contained in the question. It is a negation. And honor, flattery, and death, they are all personified, okay. Death seems to have an ear. So these are all abstractions to which human qualities have been attributed. Honor, can it provoke the silent dust referring to death. Flattery, it's a personification. All these are abstractions representing human qualities. Flattery, death. Okay, all of these are personifications, and mansion is a metaphor. All right. Next stanza, that is stanza 12. All right, here it is said, perhaps in this neglected spot is laid some heart once pregnant with celestial fire, hands that the rod of empire might have swayed or waked to ecstasy the living lyre. Maybe in this neglected means this slighted, this ignorant, this unknown, spot of land, there may have been a heart which might have been once filled with divine or spiritual fervor. Or there may have been hands that the rod of empire might have swayed. There may have been somebody who could have ruled the empire, or waked to ecstasy the living lyre, or maybe some very some very great musician who may have aroused sweet music with the lyre being a musical instrument, may have brought life to the lyre. So here the poet actually talks about the obscure fortune of these unfortunate people who may have had a lot of possibilities, but who lie here dead and buried and unknown, okay, because their possibilities have not come to the forefront. So first the poet brings before us the entire world of honor and glory and achievements and successes and celebrations, okay, and then he brings us to feel the fact that these people may also have been such rulers or such achievers, but they could not be so. They just lie unknown and unsung in this neglected area, in this neglected spot. Hands that the rod of empire might have swayed. This again refers to the loss of possibilities. Okay, that is, the poet tells that these people may have ruled the world, but they have not done so. All right, so here the poet is referring or starts referring to how these people have been lost. In the next stanza, he goes on to say, but knowledge to their eyes her ample page, rich with the spoils of time, did never unroll. Chill penury repressed their noble rage, and froze the genial current of the soul. Knowledge which has been achieved, which has been accumulated through the centuries, has never reached the ears of these people or eyes of these people, and so they have never been knowledgeable. And rich with the spoils of time, that means knowledge which has been accumulated throughout the centuries. Chill penury, penury means poverty, has suppressed whatever potentiality of nobility they might have had in them, have been suppressed by poverty and have froze their possibilities, the genial current of the soul, frozen the possibilities of the soul. And so in the next stanza it says, full many a gem of purest ray serene, the dark unfathomed caves of ocean bear. Full many a flower is born to blush unseen and waste its sweetness on the desert air. Here he has given two analogies, all right, from nature. Gray has given two analogies from nature. The first analogy, he says, he compares these men to gems pure and serene, but lost and lying unknown, unnoticed in the depths of the ocean, maybe within some unknown caves. All right, and then he refers to the second analogy. He refers to many flowers which bloom in maybe unknown areas, in desert areas which have not been savored by the eyes of people, whose beauty has never been noticed, which bloom in the desert areas, in the desert air, or maybe in the uncelebrated areas which have never been savored or never been celebrated for their beauty, and which bloom and wither away unseen. So the fate of these people, these common people, have been compared to those purest gems which lie hidden in the depths of the ocean, in the unknown caves, or the flowers which could have bloomed but do not, which have bloomed but which have not been noticed by the human eye, which have not been celebrated for their beauty. In the next stanza, that is stanza 15, the poet goes on to talk about three very famous people. He says, some village Hampden that with dauntless breast the little tyrant of his fields withstood. Some mute inglorious Milton here may rest, some Cromwell guiltless of his country's blood. Okay, so he refers to three famous people. One is Hampden. Hampden is John Hampden, who had rebelled against Charles I when Charles I had levied ship money without the approval of the Parliament. Okay, so he was rebel, and he was a very powerful parliamentary leader, who led the people. And Milton, of course. John Milton was not only a poet and not only an epic writer, and a man with great poetic gift, great poetic talent, but he was also a man who was against the tyranny of Charles I and who supported Oliver Cromwell. And Oliver Cromwell himself was the Lord Protector of England from 1653 to 1658. He was the first person who deposed the king from the throne and brought in parliamentary rule in England for a period of time, and that is the only period when England had no king. All right, so these three men are referred to by Gray to say that these people, that is this country people, could have been a Hampden, or could have been a Milton, or could have been a Cromwell. But if he had been a Cromwell, he would have been guiltless of his country's blood. Now Oliver Cromwell had actually been guilty of bloodshed to reach the throne. But these people, since they haven't been Hampden or Milton or Cromwell, remain guiltless of country's blood, or remain inglorious Milton or village Hampden. They just remain in the village. Okay, so they remain obscured and unknown, but they could have been these great politicians or poets or statesmen. Okay, and that is why in the next stanza, stanza 16, it is said that the applause of listening senates to command, the threats of pain and ruin to despise, to scatter plenty over a smiling land and read their history in a nation's eyes. So these people have not had the fortune of listening to the applause of the senators when they give their public speeches in the parliament, because they have not been great politicians or great parliamentary speakers. The threats of pain and ruin to despise, they have not faced the threat of losing their lives or destruction, threats which great senators or great politicians or great rulers may have faced from time to time, and which they have despised, that is, which they have ignored. But these people have not faced any such threat. Okay, nor have they had the opportunity to scatter a plentiful of money, plenitude of money over a smiling land, or bring benediction of wealth over a smiling land with their beneficial reign. And nor have they read their history in a nation's eyes. That is, they have not had their lives historically recorded in the adulating, adoring eyes of the nation, of their subjects. Okay, so they have been people who might have had these possibilities, but none of these possibilities have ever been explored. Okay, so here I have finished the next lot of 8 stanzas which I'm taking up in each session, and basically what we have seen in these 8 stanzas is that Gray has called up life of glory and of achievement, of success, of great gifted people, or of talented people, or successful people, rich people, and a world of fame and glory. He has called this up, but at the same time he has constantly remained rooted to the ground of the country churchyard, saying that this fame, this glory, this showering of beauty and wealth, all this which has been showered upon a certain section of people and could have been showered on these people have been denied to them because of the lack of their knowledge, because of their ignorance, or because of their poverty. So he has built up that entire world of history and recorded celebrations of achievements, and at the same time he has negated that. And this is what makes this elegy a great elegy, one of the most famous elegies written in English literature. Okay, so thank you for your time, and we will continue and maybe finish the session in the third session.